Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Living Young, Dying Old, no other than Mr. John A. Brink. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. John, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, Daniel, it's a pleasure for me to be on your show. And a bit about myself. I was born in 1940. That makes me 84 years young.
Inter-
And I'm I was born in and came to Canada in 1965, and I was 23 years old. With a dream to build a lumber mill, and I went to British Columbia. Started with nothing from the ground up, and today, yes, I do have a lumber mill and a number of other ones, and then other companies. We have four silos. The one is lumber manufacturing. The other one is warehousing, distribution, logistics, with the largest distribution company in northern British Columbia. The other one is real estate. We have residential, commercial, and industrial, and one of the larger ones here is as well. And the other one is media. And I'm very, very active in podcasting, top 1% globally. And I write books. I'm working on my sixth one now. We have four. The last one that I did is Living Young, Dying Old, as you already mentioned.
yes, yes. So, Mr. John A. Brink, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. So, what are the key habits of people who stay youthful and energetic well into their 80s?
I think a lot has to do with staying fit mentally, physically, diet. So what I try to do is vitamin D, very, very important. I get sunshine wherever it is possible. And then the other one, sleep. 8 to 9 hours a night for me is very, very important. I go to the gym, physically exercise, do strength training as well as staying fit in other ways, walking and all of that kind of stuff, but also strength training. And then the other part is diet.
So,
And
Mr. John, how did you maintain your 8 hours to 9 hours of sleep?
of sleep,
Yes.
I'm a hard worker. I work hard. My normal day is, and my foundation is attitude, passion, work ethic is my foundation, but will follow is success. So I'm always positive, always have been, and I avoid negative. Passion, whatever I do, I give it 125%. Work ethic, I work harder than anybody. So I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I always make my bed. I always think I'm late, and I'm always in a hurry. And that's how my whole days are. I'm busy, 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 and I love it. And so at nights when I go to bed around 9 o'clock, 9:30 in that area, then I lay my head down and I'm gone. Yeah, maybe I'm lucky.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
Awesome, Mr. John. So, how important is having a positive mindset in maintaining vitality as you age?
it's critical, and it becomes a question, in my opinion, Danielle, is saying I think positive about all. We live in North America, we live in Canada, we live in British Columbia. I call it paradise. And so obviously I grew up in Holland, Northern Holland, in 1940. War years were difficult. I still remember bombers close by and overhead. I remember hunger, and I remember fear and anxiety and all the things that follows war. And if there are people out there that think that there is war and after the war is over, everything is back to normal, it isn't so. And so that part always stayed with me. So by comparison, all we have to do is look around the world. We look at Eastern Europe, Middle East, China, Russia, Venezuela, and many, many other countries. And there we are. We, you likely, myself, and others in North America, and me in Canada. And I fly a lot, sit in commercial airlines a lot. And I sit always by the window. I look outside, I say it's paradise. It simply does not get any better. I'm not sure we fully appreciate it a lot of times, but I do because I've seen the opposite.
Beautiful British Columbia, as they said. So, what role does lifelong learning and curiosity play in aging well?
In my world, I grew up in Holland and spoke dialect. I
Yes.
loved speaking dialect. Now, people in Holland, most of Hollands wouldn't understand my dialect. So that's what I did. And then I was drafted into the Dutch Air Force, when I was 18 for 2 years. And I had to speak High Dutch. I barely got that part under control. And then I decided to go to Canada and I had to learn to speak English. And so so I've always been a challenge for me. Then from that point forward, I had the dream of building a lumber mill. Well, I did. And I built a lot of other companies alongside with it. And so everything to me is a challenge. And then I started podcasting and obviously, uh, I'm one of the most active podcasters in Canada, I believe, and I love it. And as you already know, podcasting can be a challenge, but it's the new media. It's only
Yes.
at its very beginning, and it is global, and it is exploding.
Certainly. Totally agree with you, Mr. John. So, how can people maintain a sense of purpose and fulfillment in their later years?
Attitude, passion, work ethic is important as a foundation. The other one is age by numbers. It's just a number. Quality of life. The earlier you think about living the best you can in terms of access to and healthy food, keeping your brain active, exercise, and then stay positive, the better. And then, combine all of those and have dreams and aspirations. That's what I do. Is even now with all the different things that we're doing, I look at growing our different companies. I look forward to the next podcast that I'm doing. I'm writing books. Stay active is the key.
Stay active, people, not stagnant. So, what are some common misconceptions about aging that need to be debunked?
Over and over and over and over again, I see people that are in their 40s and then all of a sudden realize that, I'm getting older and I don't feel as fit. And I don't want to go to the gym. I don't have to go to the gym. I'm likely too old to go there. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that people can make is that start thinking in terms of diet, what you eat, and there's no magic about it. Like if I go to a grocery store and my wife is a vegetarian, if I go to the grocery, I do all the shopping groceries for both of us. I go to the store, I stay on the outside of the store because inside the lanes is all the processed and super processed food. I
Yes.
have no idea what is in it. So I stay with the healthy food. Say with exercise, you're never too old to start exercising. In my case, at 84 years old, this is the way I look. I'm the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America.
Certainly.
And it's a myth if some people say, well, when you're 40, 50, 60, or whatever it is, 70 or 80, you're too old. You're not. Is that start, and if you say, well, I don't really want to go, I don't know how, and all the other, start walking. And if you start walking, at least you will, after a while, get the feel of it. You start enjoying it. And then from there, and then go to the gym, start gradually. If it, maybe a trainer work with you so you get some ideas of what you should be doing, a routine. And you know what will happen, Daniel, is that after a period of time, saying 6 months, maybe a year and a half after doing that, then people will come up to you and say, hey, Daniel, or hey, John, what are you doing? You look good. And that is the reward. But not only do you look good, you feel good. But let age not be a deterrent, because I like to be an example of that possibility. And I love it. I enjoy it.
Certainly. Totally agree, Mr. John. And let's talk about health and wellness. What kind of diet supports longevity and keeps you feeling young?
Well, I make sure that I understand what I eat in diet. I stay balanced in terms of quality foods that are healthy for me. And, and as I said, sleep is important. And, so I don't eat garbage or stuff that I don't know. So I'm being careful about diet. And some people maybe think that if you do that, it's not as tasty and all of those kind of things. I don't believe so. That once you get used to it and once you start enjoying it, you will see the results.
So, how important is exercise for maintaining youthfulness, and what types of workouts are best?
I believe that that part is very, very, very important from a longevity perspective, as well as feeling better and feeling better about who you are. So I would say you should do a certain amount of cardio in some form or fashion, either in a setting in a gym or otherwise walking. And but if you can, or gradually start adding to that strength training, so that as you get older, that you maintain the quality of having muscle, not to the extent necessarily that I'm working on as a competitor, but at least to have the that keeps you in balance and
Yes.
makes you walk straight and makes you feel good. So uh, that's important, and combined with the diet and the sleep, obviously, from my perspective, is as I said earlier, I still get up at 5:30 in the morning. I still have a lot of things that I do. I go to the gym. I write books, and I'm podcasting, and on and on and on. All stuff that keeps me busy physically, mentally, and everything is connected. If you feel well mentally, then you will portray yourself well to the rest of the world. And I get comments all the time from people say, "My God, you look good, and how do you do this and that?" Writing books and doing presentations and all of that, and but staying fit, healthy, mentally, very important.
Certainly. Mental health, people. So, speaking of mental health, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Mental Health 101, and it's first season, people, first season. So, speaking of sleeping, what role does sleep play in aging well, and how can older adults improve their sleep quality?
Yeah, how I'm not sure. There are obviously additives that we can take to help us, and I don't believe in chemicals of any sort. So natural products is important. And I'm not a doc, so I don't give medical advice other than to say what works for me. is that the as you get older, I feel in particular, sleep becomes important for your body to heal and to make you refreshed in the morning. When I get up at 5:30, I'm very, very active and I do a lot of things. And more so than likely, far beyond that actually, than the average individual would do. I'm active. And now, the other part about it, and I'll finish that, Danielle, I don't know if you are aware of that, but the other part of me is I wrote a book about that. Is I am ADHD.
Hmm.
I wrote a book about that, and,
Okay.
and a lot of people say to me, and I was 62 years old when I was diagnosed with ADHD. I always knew I was different, but I didn't know why
Yes.
until I picked up a book, Driven to Distraction, in the bookstore here. And when I already was had been here for a long time. And so if people say to me, how you do all the stuff that you're doing, I say, it's ADHD. That's how I do it. It's a superpower.
Superpower indeed. And can you please come back and let's talk about your that book,
Sure,
please? Yes.
sure.
So, what would be your advice for those people out there procrastinating to exercise?
Most people, what will happen, the last decade of their lives will be spending on things that go wrong with them, and they will go to the doctors and they will be prescribed chemicals. And I'm not a supporter necessarily of chemicals. I try to avoid them. I'm not saying that, again, not being a doc, but a lot of that will fix some problems and create other ones. And then the last decade of their life, they suffer from all kinds of different medical things. And if you start early already to make sure that you're fit, healthy, diet, and all the other things that we talked about, then it becomes the quality of life at any age is critically important, especially when you get older, like me at 84. I feel great. And I believe a lot of it is the mindset, the elements that I indicated earlier: vitamin D, sleep, exercise, diet, stay positive, and everything is connected in your body. And your body is extremely forgiving. It wants you to be healthy, and to abuse that for a period of time, whatever that may be. Obviously, it's already obvious which things are not good for you: smoking, alcohol, to particular amount, and then the other one obviously is chemicals. And I don't do any of that, and I enjoy every day of my life.
Natural, as they said. So, let's say if you have pain in your body, what are your remedies?
In my
Like, yes, like backache or toothache.
So is that interesting? The fortunately toothache, I don't have many issues. The On a regular basis, I go get my teeth cleaned, make sure that if there are slight things, then get something done about it. But the other part, in terms of if I have pain of some sort, then I try to figure out what it is. It doesn't happen very often. Actually, I'm very lucky. But I would not hesitate to get medical advice, or,
Yes,
but I believe what gives me the benefit that I'm very active physically in terms of cardio, as well as strength exercises in my what I do for primarily for fitness. But what happened with me is when I already started at a fairly older age, not as young as a lot of people did, but in the last 16 years, the first 4 or 5 years that I did it in the gym, strength training, people came up to me and say, "Hey, John, have you ever thought about competing?" I said, "Me? Really? Yeah." And so I did. And so it gave me a goal to work towards. And so I competed bodybuilding and physique. Northern British Columbia came in second bodybuilding, third in physique, qualified me for the provincials, did the same there, qualified me for the nationals and the Arnolds. And so that was not necessary. I enjoyed it, but it did for me, it motivated me going to the gym. But more than anything, Danielle, came to probably the question that you asked me. What do you do when you have pain in your back, a pain here, there, or the other places? I usually don't. And so, the and part of that likely is because I'm physically so active. And then I try not to abuse my body with eating stuff that is not good for me.
Discipline, people, number one in everything. Success, for your health, for everything. Discipline is number one. So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
What would be my
Short term and long term goals in writing.
in writing? I'm still working on another book that's coming out in June. It's about communications. We should we have the first draft right now, so it will come out in June. I'm writing another book about another topic that is very, very important for me is never give up and things that motivated me and doing things. And so I'm trying to write one book a year for the
Mm.
next. That's what I'm doing as we go forward, and that's what I will do as long as I can. The other one is I'm, as already indicated, a very active podcaster. I do about 6 podcasts a week. 4 of them is where I'm hosting, 2 where I'm guesting, and then I think I have about 750,000 subscribers on YouTube, which means that we probably have over 2 million subscribers around the world, globally on the other platforms in combination with that. So I think it's an amazing, amazing vehicle, and I intend to be very active there and then start a platform probably in the next 3 to 4 months.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Jan, and looking forward for more books and of course more episodes for your podcast. So to wrap up our discussion for today, what are the benefits of activities like reading, puzzles, or learning new skills for brain health?
Is there a question for me?
Yes.
It will stimulate your mind, and that is so critically important, Daniel, as you well know, is that I do that in the 10 companies that I manage still on a day-to-day basis. I get that in my podcasting that I do globally. I get that in writing of books and then presentations that I still do in person a number of times a month or a year, and the combination of all of that keeps my brain active, and the activity in the brain keeps your mind healthy, in my opinion. And and no different than it does with my body exercising my brain or challenging it, and then my body and my and staying fit and healthy, the combination on all of it, everything is connected. If your mind is healthy, then you know what you have to do to physically stay fit and healthy in diet, and you know that your chances of longevity, it's not a number. I want to get to the time that I'm 120.
Mr. John A. Brink, thank you so much for sharing your podcast, your books to the world, and looking forward for more books, more episodes to your podcast. So can you please invite our listeners to support all your books as well as your podcasts?
I'll give you the contact, John A. Brink, BRINK.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. J. A. Brink in any of the books and podcasts so that Mr. John will create more empowering books and podcasts as well. So, Mr. John, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. Take care.
More to come, people. See you soon.